Hi, welcome back to our third pre-recorded lesson, our fourth lesson overall. Hope everybody is doing well. Last week we took a look at the concept known as blended learning, the idea of bringing technology and combining it with the traditional classroom experience. I've had the pleasure of reading many of your tasks that you've submitted to me, and some of the ideas I've seen and read about have been really amazing and very well done. So thank you to everybody who has submitted their materials to me. If you haven't done so yet, please do. It's good to keep up with the tasks of each week, so that way at the end you don't have too much work to do at one time. In this week's lesson, we are going to take a look at the idea of learning management systems. I mentioned it briefly last week, but we're going to talk about what a learning management system is and how it can be used for both your classroom management and also as a classroom tool. So let's get started. So again, this week we're going to talk about learning management solutions, or as they're more commonly known, LMS platforms. The idea behind an LMS platform is to create a centralized location for your class community. What does that mean? Well, we're going to take a look together to see how an LMS platform or a learning management solution can benefit your classroom experience. Before we start talking about how to implement an LMS platform, let's talk about what an LMS or learning management system is. So, a learning management system, or LMS, is a software application for the administration, documentation, tracking, reporting, and delivery of education courses or training programs. What does that mean in English? Well, if you take a look at all of these terms here, administration, documentation, tracking, and so on, these are all regular parts of the classroom experience. These are all things that as teachers we do regularly. We have to administer our students. We have documents. We have assessments that we give our students. We have homework that we expect our students to do. We have projects, quizzes, etc. And the idea here is to create one central place where all of these things, all of these different elements in the classroom come together. That's the idea here. And what should an LMS system include? An LMS system should enable us to centralize and automate administration, first of all. And again, what does that mean? We're trying to create a centralized platform. One place that students, teachers, and even parents and administrators can come to be able to get what they need. In the old system, we had to send everything as an email. If we wanted to give the students a new handout, if we wanted to pass something along to the parents, we sent out an email. And sometimes we get reports back, oh, I didn't get the email, it didn't go through. Well, now what we're doing is we're reversing the process. We're creating one central location where all of the class materials are going to be, and the users can come and access the materials whenever they are needed. Second, an LMS platform should be able to use self-service and self-guided services. The idea behind an LMS is that it's automatic. It doesn't require training. It doesn't require a lot of technical support. The LMS platform should be something that your user community, your teachers, your students, and your parents should be able to access easily, efficiently, and quickly. And we're going to see when we take a look at some of the examples, we're going to see how the different LMS platforms have tried to achieve this. And you guys will decide whether they've succeeded in making the experience truly self-guided. Third, a robust LMS platform should be able to assemble and deliver learning content rapidly. And the key word here is rapidly. Again, the old way of doing things is the handouts, the emails. Sometimes if we wanted to send multiple attachments, we had to send multiple emails because the attachments would be too large or we didn't want people to get confused. Again, the idea here is that within a matter of minutes, with a few clicks, you have one place where you can publish homework, test calendars, grades, attendance, notices to the parents, whatever you need, it happens quickly and again in one central location. The next, a robust LMS should be able to consolidate training activities on a scalable web-based platform. Again, you're seeing some themes here and you're seeing some similarities. We're trying to create one centralized platform, and in this case, any type of training initiative, whether it be a quiz, a test, a project that we assign our students. Again, we can do it all from one place, one platform. Next, an LMS platform should be able to support portability and standards. We know that the types of devices our students are coming into our classrooms using. They all have, or at least most of them probably have, smartphones like iPods, iPhones, iPads, other types of Android phones. And the idea, what's great about the LMS platforms is that almost all of them are available on these devices as well. So if a student needs to access the class handout or needs to access a source that you have provided them, they can really truly do it from any type of device, and that can make them more efficient and make the learning process that much more successful. Finally, a robust LMS platform should be able to personalize content and enable knowledge reuse, and we're going to take a look at some examples as what this really means. What's great here, even if you have 15, 20, even more in Israel, we sometimes have classes with 30, 35 students in one class. We can use LMS platforms to make the information personalized. When a student logs into an LMS platform, he sees his information, his grades, his attendance records, his assignments. Even though we may be publishing content for 30 students, each student can log in and see only what he needs to see and what he should see. And the parents have the same capabilities as well with most of the LMS platforms. So these are some of the ideas of what an LMS platform should be able to offer. Here's an illustration that just helps us to explain what an LMS platform is, what a learning management system does for us. You see here we have all these people standing in a circle holding hands. And what this image is showing us is that this is our global community. This group of people can include students, it can include our administrators, it can include parents, it can even include school lay leaders if necessary. So what happens? How does the LMS work? We register for instructor-led e-learning courses. All of your courses that you're teaching now in the classroom can be added to the LMS platform, and your students can then register as members of the courses. And again, what happens once they're members of the courses? They get a centralized delivery of online learning materials and courses. So again, if you're assigning homework every night, or if you're assigning projects, or you want your students to read certain articles or sources, or even to watch certain online videos, this platform is where you can publish these things. And again, it's available to anybody who has registered as a member of your course. And finally, the third component we see is tracking and reporting of learning. What's so nice about the LMS methodology is that not only can it be used to share information, but LMS platforms can be used to actually assess the performance of the tasks as well. Most of the LMS systems that we're going to look at have built-in gradebook modules, have attendance modules, some of them have progress report modules. So you can really do everything again in one location. Many schools have adopted the LMS methodology. A lot of schools are using some of the platforms that we're going to take a look at. Some of your schools may be using these. And if they're not, that's okay, because whether these platforms are used by an entire school or school district or just by one classroom teacher, the end result is the same. We're using these platforms to create a centralized learning environment for all involved. So we'll come back to this picture later once we take a look at some of our examples, and we can see if the examples we look at hold true to these ideas. Okay, so when we talk about LMS options, we have to narrow down the field a little bit, because there are literally hundreds of existing LMS options. If you go to Google and you Google LMS platforms, you're going to come up with just countless results. Some of them are for education, some of them are for the corporate world. Some of them, like you see here, are free, while some have subscription costs. Some platforms, such as one called Moodle, have full customization options, while others are designed as more out-of-the-box solutions, meaning that for a really advanced user who has skills doing programming, who has skills doing web-based customization, you could use something like Moodle, which was actually created for education purposes, and you can create your personalized LMS platform with exactly what you want and need in it. If you're like most of us and you don't have the time or the skills to do this, there are so many out-of-the-box solutions that are available that you can just register and get started right away. All of the platforms, by the way, which we're going to take a look at today in this presentation, are all free. There are some that do come with a subscription cost, but after looking at what was available for free, there's really no reason, especially if you're using this as a single teacher, to pay for any type of platform. The only exception would be that if a school district, for example, or an entire school decided to adopt an LMS platform for all of its classes and teachers and students, then there may be costs associated that would create different user classes. So, for example, a principal would be able to log in and oversee all of the classes. But for one particular class, one particular teacher, we certainly don't need to pay any money. The services we're going to take a look at today are absolutely 100% free. Okay. If you want to check out Moodle a little bit closer, you can download the PowerPoint presentation. You can click on this link. Again, Moodle is really for the more advanced user. Moodle is actually a programming language that was created for educators. And basically, if you go online and you Google Moodle examples, you can see some of the projects that have been done using the Moodle language. We're not going to focus on that right now, even though Moodle probably is the most popular LMS out there because, at least in the educational world, it was first. We've come a long way since Moodle, and what I'm going to show you now are some of the more out-of-the-box solutions, which I think will enable all of us to get started quickly and efficiently. Okay, we're going to take a look today at 3 popular free options, and you may have heard of some of these. In fact, some of you may even be using these already. The first one we're going to take a look at is a platform called Schoology. The next one we're going to take a look at is something called Edu 2.0, and the third one we'll take a look at today is called Edmodo. All of them are similar LMS options. However, each one has a little bit of a different philosophy and some different capabilities. So we're going to explore these 3 options together, and hopefully once you finish watching this pre-recorded lesson, you'll have an opportunity to try at least 1 or 2 of them out on your own. Again, all of the links are here, so if you download the PowerPoint presentation, you don't have to worry about Google searching or websites. Just open up the PowerPoint, click on the links, and it'll take you right to each of these platforms' homepages. Okay, let's get started first with the Schoology community. Schoology is actually one of my favorites. I don't want to bias anybody, but Schoology was probably the first of the easy-to-use, out-of-the-box free solutions. Schoology is a new social media platform developed specifically for teachers and students. The company is located in New York City, and it was created, again, like it says here, not for high-tech businesses, not for corporate solutions, but exactly for teachers. And I actually spoke to the CEO of the company about 2 months ago, was interested in finding out a little bit more about his methodology and his reasons for creating this. And basically what they saw in schools is that where do the students go to communicate? We've talked about this before. They go to social media. They go to platforms like Facebook. So what Schoology attempted to create, and I think they did a pretty good job doing it, they tried to create a Facebook-like platform but with an academic mindset, something that could be used in the academic world. So the benefits of Schoology include the ability to easily share materials. Teachers can administer quizzes and tests directly through the LMS platform. You can use it for grade reporting, and this is a wonderful part of Schoology. I'll show you. We'll take a look together in a minute. Attendance is a biggie. A lot of schools are doing this now, especially since programs like Schoology and the other ones all have mobile apps. So that means that if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you can actually take attendance for your classes directly from your phone. You don't even need the laptop anymore. A lot of school districts have started to implement this functionality. And the nice thing is, once the attendance is recorded, it's instantly available for the parents, the teachers, the administrators, and anybody else who needs to see it. And also what's nice about Schoology is they do a great job of promoting parental involvement. Parents can sign up as class members as well, and their view is a little bit different from the view of the students. They don't have due dates, they have reminders, and the parents can log in any time to see what's due, what their students have to do, what their children rather have to do for homework, and they can know what's going on. So these are some of the benefits of the Schoology community. The best benefit, and really where Schoology has established itself in the market, is that they were rated the top safe and secure LMS platform. Out of everything you're going to see today, free services, subscription services, Schoology was rated number one out of them all with their safety and security measures. And it's not that the other platforms that I'm going to show you are not safe. I would never show you something that I didn't feel comfortable telling you to use. But this is something that Schoology has excelled in, and in fact, they've actually started licensing their safety and security systems to other LMS platforms. So it's very interesting to see where the information and the capabilities start and where they end up. So this is something that Schoology has become known for. What we're going to do now, let's go over and take a look inside Schoology, and we can take a look together at how it works and what we can do with it. Okay, here we are at the Schoology website, Schoology.com, and like I said, all of these services are completely free. So you can see they offer a lot of information on their home site as to what they do, what types of tools they have, what types of markets they cater to. But what we're going to do right now, let's dive right in and get started, and I'll show you how easy it is to create a free Schoology account. We can see here there's a sign up button on the right side, so we'll press sign up, and then the next thing the platform asks you is, who are you? Are you an instructor, a student, or a parent? Like we said before, each view has different information available. As an instructor, we can actually create classes, we can publish homework assignments. As a student, you can submit homework assignments, and as a parent, you can just view what's happening. So we're going to sign up right now because we're all teachers. We're going to choose instructor. And the first thing it's going to ask you is it's going to ask you just for some basic information. And I actually already have a user account, but I'm going to fill this in together with you. I'm going to put in my name, and I'll put in a different email address just for right now, just so it doesn't find me. This is an email address I don't usually use. And we'll create a password. Okay, and you can decide whether you want us to receive the updates or not. I'm going to uncheck that box for right now, and let's go ahead and register. And you can see right away, thanks for signing up. It'll then ask you for, if you want to fill in some information. We're actually going to skip this. You can see there's a button here that says skip this step. As personal users, this information really is not important. This is only important if you're part of a school district that's already using Schoology. So we're going to skip. Now you can see if you've never used Schoology before, the first thing it does as a new user is it offers to give us a tour. And if I click next, it'll walk me through all the different parts of the screen. I'm going to close right now because we're not going to do that. That you can do on your own. But let me just show you a couple of the options that this platform offers. So first, we can customize our profile. And this is nice because, especially if we're dealing with new students, they can see what we look like, they can see information about us. So we can either choose an avatar or we can actually attach a real picture. So I'm actually going to go to my computer, and I'm going to find a picture of myself. There we go. And it's going to upload it. And there we go. I'm done. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to close the box, and there we go. No problem. So far, so good. Now, the next thing we need to do, if we look at the top here, we have a pull-down menu for courses. Now, it tells us that we have no active courses. That's obviously because we just signed up. Let's go ahead and create a class so you can get an idea of how this could actually be used with your students. So I'm going to press the Create button. And we have to give our course a name. You can see the type of example they give you, but let's name our course Jewish History 9th grade, just as an example. If I want to, if I have different sections, I can specify the section. I can also choose a subject area, so we'll call this history or social studies. And I can select the grade level. Case we know it's 9, and they even give us an option here to add a range. So if we did want to make this a 9th to 10th grade course, we actually do have that option as well. So once we've entered in the information, we're going to create the course. And that will instantly take us to our course homepage. Now, we can see right away, we haven't done, again, this is all out of the box, all completely free. We have different things that we can add: assignments, tests and quizzes, files and links, etc. We also have down here, and this is very important, you'll see that you have an access code. This is what has made Schoology's security that we mentioned before so successful. A student from the outside, or a parent for that matter, cannot enter your class or cannot even view your class by searching for it. If a student or somebody came to the Schoology platform, even if they had a Schoology account, and they went into the search window and they searched for, let's say, R.E.A. Eisenberg's 9th grade Section 1 Jewish History, nothing would come up. If they did that here, nothing would come up. Why? Because Schoology does not list their courses. As a security measure, the only way a student or parent can find your course is with this access code. So what you would do on the first day of class, you would either put this access code up on the board and you would have the students sign up in the classroom, or you would send your students an email basically saying, this is the access code for our Schoology class, please join Schoology and enter this code. And only then would the students be able to become members of your class. Now, once you've done that, you can start setting up your class. And we can see here we have all sorts of materials that we can add. Let's just, as an example, let's add an assignment. Okay, so again, any field marked with a red asterisk we have to put in. So let's call this first assignment Homework 1, just as a name. And description is important because we want the student to know what to do. So we're going to say read pages 23 to 30 and answer questions. Okay, just as an example. The other great feature that Schoology offers is the Dropbox option. If you have your own Dropbox account, you can set it up to work with Schoology. And if you don't have a Dropbox account, Schoology will automatically create one for you. And what this means is any attachments or any files that we add to this assignment will automatically also be available, not just through Schoology, but the student will get a Dropbox link as well. So you can decide whether you want to use that or not. But for right now, we'll keep it enabled. The next thing it'll ask is how many points is this assignment worth? So it's not worth 100 points, it's only homework. So let's say it's worth 20 points. And we also have an option here, we can set it as a midterm or final grade, which again, we're not going to do. Then we can choose the due date. When is this due? Well, today is January 29th. Let's say I want this to be due tomorrow. This is a short assignment, so I can choose my date and I can even enter the time that I want it to be due. And then I have the category. Now, we haven't created any new categories, so let's do that now. I'm going to click Create New Category. And you can see here it gave me a field. Let's create a category called Homework. And we can create as many categories as we want. Now, the other thing you see here is a link for grading options. Let's take a look at our options for that. You'll see that we have the choice of what type of scale we want to use. We can use either a numeric scale or a letter scale. We'll keep it set to numeric right now, and we can also set the factor options. So you can really personalize this to your specific grading system as much as you want. Now, the next thing we can do, you can see we can add an attachment. If we want the students, let's say, to answer questions, well, this is where we would put the question sheet. So for right now, let's choose File. I'm going to go to My Documents folder and just choose something as an example. I'll choose Online Class Instructions just for our example. And you'll see that it's uploading the file. And it's complete. And now we see that this has been uploaded. We can upload as many files as we need to for this particular assignment. And now we are ready to go. We can create the assignment. So I'm going to press Create. And what do we see? Well, we see that under Assignments, we now have one item listed. So I'm going to click Assignments. And it tells us Homework 1. It tells us the due date. It tells us, if we click on it, it'll tell us exactly what we need to do as the student. And when the student signs in, he or she will also get this exact information, except they will get one other option. For the students, they will have a button that allows them to submit to the assignment to you online. And you can see a note here. Remember, we enabled the Dropbox option. To return files to students, please attach them to comments by clicking on a student's name in the Dropbox area above. Right now we have no students in our class, so it says 0 of 0, but if we had students, then what we could do from this list, we would just select the student's name, and we would determine who we wanted the assignment to go to. Now, what's also nice, for every homework assignment, or any assignment for that matter, there's an area for comments. So you can either use this as part of the assignment, you can instruct the students to post a comment to a question that you ask. For example, you could start off, what did you think of chapter 1? And then you could make part of their homework, each student has to submit an answer. And this is a group discussion. So again, the possibilities of how you use this are really endless, and you can do a lot with it. Again, I'm just showing you here the basics, but when you start playing around on your own, you can click on some of the other options and you can experiment a little bit. You also have, like I said, we have the gradebook option. So if we click on that, we can see that right now we have no students in our class, but we can see the assignment we created just now is here in our gradebook. It tells us when it's due. And if we click on any student, we can put in, remember we set numerical values, so we can just click and put in whatever mark they get on the assignment. And again, you can play around with this. There are different ways that you can customize the grading profiles and how you can work with it. So there's a lot you can do here. So this is Schoology. The only other thing I'll show you about Schoology, because I think it's important, are the resources. Don't forget, if we go back to our class homepage, we're going to leave this page. If we go back to our class homepage, we have, one of the choices we have are files and links. What this is great for is we can put anything here. Let's say there's a website or a YouTube video that we want our students just to have access to. Or let's say there's a resource site that we really like. For example, let's add a link. Let's say we're teaching an English class and we want our students to always have access to dictionary.com. And we'll give it a title. So we're going to add this. And what this means is that anytime a student needs to access dictionary.com, the student can come to his materials folder and just click on it, and you'll see that a new browser window will open up and will automatically open the dictionary.com website. So you can put any types of links, any types of files directly here. And if we go back to resources now, we have a choice of viewing My Resources or Public Resources. My Resources we can see already, so I'm going to click on Public Resources just to show you an idea of what's available to you as a teacher. Again, these are all resources that have been shared by other teachers using Schoology. So let's say you were looking for something for your class, you wanted to see what another teacher was doing for their project or for their assignment. So you can see some of the things that are here already. These are some lesson plans. Let's look at what's here already. Let's click on one just as an example. This was added by Mrs. Melanowski, Our Buddies in History. Let's take a look. And this is an assignment that she gave her students. We see there's a PowerPoint here, there's an example, and you could easily share this with your students. You'll see here there's a button that says share. You can share it on Facebook. You can also click here and add it to your own class. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use other people's resources as well as your own. So that's just a little bit of information about Schoology. Again, it's a great platform. You can create as many classes as you'd like. You can see right now under courses, I only have the one I created, but you can create as many as you want. And teachers using Schoology have really found this platform to be a really helpful tool in class management. Because as you can see here again, you have everything you need in one place. And it's really a great thing. So that's Schoology. All right, let's go back here. And now let's take a look at the next platform, which is called Edu 2.0. Again, similar to the same idea as Schoology, they created this platform specifically for high schools and universities. So again, similar to Schoology, this was not created for the high-tech world or for the business world. This was created for the older students. So if you're teaching, for example, elementary school students, it doesn't mean you can't use Edu 2.0, but it was created more for the older grades, and you'll see why in just a minute. The benefits of Edu 2.0, again, enable you to easily share materials. We saw that before. They also have a really interesting badging system that you can use. You could actually assign visual grades and badges to different assignments and different projects. That can actually be very helpful. We have grade reporting and attendance. Edu 2.0 has a tremendously large user community, even larger than Schoology, simply because they cater to the universities. So you have a lot of great resources. And another nice thing about Edu 2.0 is their next phase, the next phase of their company is going to be to expand to include curriculum. They're actually starting to create curriculum for the 4 big subjects, math, English, science, and history, and that curriculum will be available to all members of Edu 2.0. So there's a lot of benefit here, and we'll take a look in a minute. Currently, like I said, boasts a user base of over 600,000 students and teachers, so I'm not making this up. It's being used every single day. Also, unlike the other platforms, while this was created for high schools and universities, they also did start offering a business solution for companies and other professional organizations. So while they started in the academic world, they've since also expanded to include the business world as well. And what that does for us is, especially for the upper level classes, is it just helps to expand the resources that we have available. And finally, if you are a more advanced user, one of the nice things about Edu 2.0 is that it has available advanced developer tools that can enable you to create actually your own program functionalities. So like we were talking about before with Moodle, where you have to create everything from scratch. With Edu 2.0, you can use the out-of-the-box solution, but if you are somebody with programming knowledge or you have somebody with that skill, and let's say you want to create an option for your menu that doesn't exist. Let's say you want your students to be able to press a button and automatically to open PowerPoint so they can do a new project, just as an example. You could actually program that directly into the platform if you know what you're doing. So let's again quickly take a look at Edu 2.0, and we'll see how it's the same and how it's different from what we just saw in Schoology. Okay, here we are at the Edu 2.0 homepage, and what's interesting here, you'll actually see that it's a little bit of a different look and feel than we saw with Schoology. You can see they have sections for K-12, university, and like we also said, for the business world as well. You can see, though, one thing that's the same, we can get started very quickly. We'll click the sign up button, and it'll ask us who we are. Are we public school, private school, etc.? I'm actually going to choose right now teacher training because that's what we're doing. Again, you can see how the different platforms eventually get to the same information, and we'll choose an organization. I'm just going to make one up for right now because, again, I already created an account for my organization. We'll call this Teachers Train. And what's really cool here is that they actually enable you to create your own URL for your own organization or for your own class. So let's say you as a teacher are signing up for Edu 2.0. Instead of having to have the students go to Schoology, like we saw before, and then enter the platform, you can actually give your students a specific web address that will take them directly to your information in your class. So let's try creating this. We'll call it teacherstrain.edu20.org. I'll select a state. I'll select my home state, Maryland, United States, and then obviously we have to put in our user information. You can see I've had it in here already, and again I'm going to use an email account that I don't usually use. And you can see how simple and easy this registration process is. User ID is just a way for them to find you. So I'm going to do TTN for teacher train, and we can create a password. Again, whenever you create these accounts, whether you're doing Schoology, Edu 2.0, or something else, always write down what you're entering for your passwords and for your usernames, because there's nothing worse than that feeling of trying to log in later on and saying, uh-oh, what did I do? And then you have to spend the time trying your usual combinations. So let's press submit. Okay, so here we are with Edu 2.0's home screen. The first thing I'll point out is the URL. Let's take a look. We can see that this is the URL that we created in the registration process, teacherstrain.edu20.org. So we have our own URL, which is really nice. And we have some of the same features along the side that we saw before. We have our dashboard, our messages, and so on. So if we click on these, we can see the different options that are available. With the dashboard, we can see right away some of the general statistics. Right now we have 0 classes, but we're going to create one in a second, and obviously we have no students registered. But if we click on any of these squares, we can find, if we had information, we would be able to find it right away. Let's click on classes. We see it says you do not have any classes, but let's add a class, and we'll see how this works. So I'm going to press the Add button. And again, we get a box that looks very similar to what we saw before. Let's give our class a name. We'll call it Jewish History again. And I can select the style of the course as well. I can decide whether it's going to be an instructor-led course, a blended course. If you remember last week we talked about blended learning courses, or self-paced. This time let's leave it as blended, because we all are familiar with that term now. I can set my course start date and my end date. So let's set this course. We'll leave January 30th as the start date, but let's set the course to finish. Let's say the course is going to run until April 29th. And we'll change our time zone. I'm going to choose Jerusalem as my time zone, but you can choose yours. And we'll select a category here as well. You can see there are a lot of choices available. So we'll select history for right now. And this is going to be a 9th grade course. And it's going to be in English. And again, here these are optional fields. If I want, I can add information about my section and my credits and so on and so forth. For right now, I'm going to press save. And we'll see what happens. So right away we have a set of choices. I can configure the class, I can add syllabus, set schedules. You can see the different options. You don't have to choose from here. This is just a little hint box. We'll press continue so we can look, and you'll see what's interesting about this. We can see they automatically gave us an image to associate with the class. Obviously we can change that image, but they really try to make it as out of the box plug and play for you as possible. And here we can do a lot of the same things that we saw in Schoology. For example, let's add an assignment. We'll click assignments and we'll choose add assignment. And we can choose the type of assignment that we want to add. Now remember, we set this up to be a blended class. So a lot of our options are going to be within the blended learning realm. Let's choose the offline option right now. We can see an offline assignment such as taking a traditional paper test or reading a book. So for right now, let's take that example. And we'll give the assignment a title. We'll call it Homework 1. And we can set the max number of points. I'm going to set it again to 25. We don't have any specific categories, but you can see this program actually gives you some out-of-the-box categories, so we'll select homework. We can tell whether it's going to be extra credit. Remember, all of these options like points and extra credit will automatically be sent to the platform's gradebook module, so you can make it real easy. And we can set the due date. Right now this is being assigned on January 30th, and we're going to leave it as January 31st as when we want the assignment to be turned in. And we can tell the student, write a paragraph on pages 23 through 30. And that's it. Easy enough. And then we can press save. And we can see that the homework assignment has been entered. Now what we have to do is, if we had students in our class, we could press the Give Assignment button. And we can see that this assignment was announced. Again, right now it's not being announced to anybody because we don't have any students enrolled. But that's all there is to it. If there were students enrolled in this class now, they would have received this homework assignment on their user profiles as well. And we can see the instructions here. So we can do a lot of other things. Again, we have the gradebook. We have a resources tab. If we click resources, we can see we have a choice. We can either add our own resources. We can browse other people's resources. I'll add a resource just to show you what that looks like. I can decide, is it going to be a file that I've created, like a Word document or a PowerPoint? Is it going to be a page, plain text, HTML, or is it going to be a web resource to another website? Let's choose web resource right now. Again, I'll use dictionary.com as my example. And I can give this a description. We'll just call it dictionary. And again, anything I put here is going to be accessible to whichever of these three categories I choose. I have a choice. I can add a library resource that is just for me. It's a personal resource. Or I can add it to my school or my community. The difference here is school would be the people enrolled in your class, and community would be an example that, or an option that you won't really use because you're not part of a school district using Edu 2.0, but if you were, if your entire district was using it, you could actually create a resource that everybody would see. So for right now, we'll leave it set as school, and we'll press save. And we can see that this has now been added as part of our resource library. So we can add as many resources as we want. And that's really a nice thing about these types of platforms, is that if we want our students to have access to information, we can literally put it at their fingertips. Now, we saw before in Schoology that if we want to invite students to our class, again, if we click on the students right now, we have no students. So we see a button here for enrolling students. We have a few ways of doing it. We can choose class tab, and you can read the description. Students can hover over the classes tab, click enroll, and then just like we had in Schoology, this is an access code that you would provide to your students. And again, if you were doing this in your classroom and having the students on the first day of school all enroll in your class, this would be the easiest way of doing it. You don't really have an option to add from your school roster because, again, unless your whole district or whole school is using this, that's not relevant. But you can also send an invitation by email. If we click here, this is actually a nice feature that the other platform doesn't have. We can choose again, it asks you for an approximate number of invitations you'd like to send. Let's make it 5 just for our example. And you can set the format of your email. And then down here, you can enter the email address of your students, their first name, their last name, and if you press send, what will happen is the student will automatically get an email, and it'll contain a link. You can see this message ends with a link that they can click to accept the invitation. So in this case, they don't really need an access code. All they need is that email that you send them. Once they accept the invitation, they will automatically be enrolled in your class, and if you click on students, you'll be able to see them on this list. So these are the management features of Edu 2.0. I'm not showing you everything. You can play with the rest yourself, but I think you get the idea. The last thing I'll show you is the resources tab, and again, if we click on libraries, we can develop as many libraries for ourselves as we want. Right now, we have our dictionary resource that we added, but we also have a lot of other options that we can choose from. And then finally, one nice thing that Edu 2.0 does is they give you a lot of reporting options. You can generate reports on any type of class statistic, your attendance, your test scores, and these are really nice to be able to use for yourself so you can see how your class is proceeding, but also to be able to make available to parents, administrators, and anybody else who needs the information. I was working with one teacher not so long ago who actually created, they were using Edu 2.0, and they actually created for parent-teacher conference, the teacher generated just a very simple graph report for each student. And as the parent came in for the parent-teacher conference appointment, the teacher was able to pull out that student's graph report, and it showed the parent right then and there very clearly how the student was doing, which assignments were missing, what needed to be done, and etc. So again, the idea here, like we said before, is everything is centralized to one location. So that's the overview of Edu 2.0. Again, a little bit different from Schoology, but also a lot of similarities. Okay, the last platform we're going to take a look at today is called Edmodo Online. Edmodo is, again, another of the free, very popular LMS platforms. This one was created specifically from the teacher's viewpoint. This platform was created by teachers. The people who created this platform were former teachers themselves, and they created it so teachers would have a tool that they could easily manage their classes from. So there are some differences. Some of the benefits of Edmodo, again, like we've seen before, you can easily share materials, large resources library, very high-level options for grade reporting and attendance. Online quizzes are very easy. And one unique platform option, which we'll take a look at, is that Edmodo actually enables for easy facilitation of group work. The platform actually enables you as a teacher to split the class up into groups to do certain projects within the platform. And that's a pretty interesting feature that a lot of teachers have found to be very helpful. As we continue with Edmodo, we can learn a little bit more. Again, this program was created by educational technologists. This program was created by two people who used to do what I did in the schools. They were directors of technology for two schools. If you go to their website, they have a really nice video explaining about what they used to do and why they did it. And again, because the creators of this program were themselves teachers and were in the trenches, so to speak, they created a lot of nice features here that really help from the teacher's perspective. They wanted a platform that teachers used because it was by choice. And that's an interesting question. A lot of schools have implemented LMS platforms like Schoology or Edmodo or Edu 2.0, and teachers rarely get a vote. Do we want to use this? Usually at the end of the day, teachers do find LMS platforms to be very helpful. And at the end of the day, most teachers who are using them, even if they didn't want to use it to start with, they later on say, you know what, this was a good decision. But what Edmodo has set out to do is actually to create something that the teachers wanted to use from the outset. So it's an interesting difference in their methodology. What they did was they used a Facebook-like navigation structure and appearance. And again, this was just an obvious choice. Facebook is a platform that we're all familiar with and that we all enjoy using. So they wanted to create something that we were able to simply navigate. They didn't want to create a platform that required a lot of training, just like the other ones, something that was plug and play that somebody could sign up for and start using immediately. So these were some of the thinking, the ideas that went into the Edmodo platform. And finally, Edmodo has developed a very extensive online library that enables easy file sharing and collaboration. And I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. So again, every platform is a little bit different, has some of the same features, some different methodologies, but let's take a look at Edmodo together and we can see how it compares to Schoology and to Edu 2.0. Okay, here we are at the Edmodo website. They have a great tagline where learning happens. I happen to love that tagline. So again, we have right away, we have different roles. Sign up now, it's free. And we can choose, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm a parent, or I'm a school or school district. So again, I'm going to choose I'm a teacher. And again, I'm going to create an account, and I'm going to use different information than I used in the past, just for this example. And we'll fill in my title. Okay, I agree to their policies, and I'm going to press sign up. And again, we can create a teacher profile. I'll quickly upload a photo. And while that's happening, just like we saw with Edu 2.0, down here, I can create a URL that's specific for my class or my organization. You can see it's edmodo.com/ let's call it tech train. Let's see if that's available. Okay. And then here I can, if I want to, I can add my school name. You may find that some of your schools are actually already in here. They have a pretty good database. If it's not there, then we can just write it in. So I'm going to write Bonim Biyachad. And here we are. And now this is actually very interesting. Remember before I mentioned when we were looking at the slide about the sharing of information. This is optional, but here we can actually choose different categories that we want to be updated with. These are all categories with discussions, with resources that are published, and we can choose topics that we are interested in and that we want to learn more about. So I'm going to choose computer and technology, and for this example I'll choose language arts. And I'm going to go to my home page. And here we are. We're right away. How long did that registration process took us? It took us about a minute and a half. And we can already see we have some new resources, and these are resources that have been shared by other teachers in the different categories that I selected. And yes, we can always go back later and choose. If we click browse over here, we can add new categories or remove categories, but you can see any of these links are accessible to anybody who is a member of these groups. There's some great information that automatically becomes part of your feed, part of your profile. And if you've ever used Facebook, which I'm assuming most people have, this should look very similar for you. So, and we can also post our own information here. Now, before we can post any assignments or quizzes or polls, what do we need to do? Well, we should all know this by now. We need to create our class. Edmodo doesn't call it a class, though. They call it a group. And over on the side here, we can create our first group. So let's do that together. We can give our group a name. Again, we'll call it Jewish History. And we can select either a grade or a grade range. I'll select 9th grade again, and we'll give it an area. This is Social Studies. And I can drill down even further, history. And I have some advanced options here. I can make new members read only. I can decide that if I'm going to ask my students to post comments or to add materials, that I should be able to moderate all posts and replies. I would actually select that one. And once I do that, I can press create. And right away you can see in my list of groups, I have a new group called Jewish History. And if I click on it, you can see it says my classroom is ready for students. So I can invite my students. Again, just like we saw before, I have an access code that I can give them. And as soon as the student comes and creates his Edmodo account, all he has to do is type in this code, and he'll automatically be added to my list of students. And I'll be able to see them then. If I click on members, I'll be able to see the students listed as well. So again, just like Facebook, when we want to add new material, we have our post option. I can add an assignment, and let's give it a title. We'll call it again. We'll call it homework. We'll call this one homework 2, just to be a little bit different. We'll say read chapter 4 and answer questions. Okay, we can assign a due date whenever it is, and then down here we can attach a file or a link. So let's say there was a page that we wanted our students to use as a resource. So I could say biography.com, and there we go, and I can attach it. So now in the assignment my students have the link that they need, or the resource they need. Now here I can see that my selected group has already been included as a recipient. What's nice here, let's say you teach multiple sections of the same subject. Let's say you teach 9th grade Jewish History 1 and 9th grade Jewish History 2, and you want to assign the same homework to both groups. Well, you don't need to repeat this process twice. You can if you had a second section, you would just add them to the send group, just like an email. You can send an email to as many groups as you want, and then when you were finished, all you have to do is press send. And we can see that nobody's turned it in yet because there are no students, but our homework is listed here and ready to go. And that's all there is to it. We have different options here. Edmodo gives us a planner, so you can actually add a homework assignment. We can see what's coming soon. This is the assignment we just added. But you can actually add something directly from here by clicking on any date. They also have a badge system, which is interesting. If you click on My Student Badges, you can actually give out awards to your students online, and this is something that actually has been taken from other social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, but it's an interesting tool. And then here we have our library. And again, what's really nice about this library, we saw with Schoology that we can link Schoology to Dropbox, but what's even nicer here is that we can add Google Doc files to our Edmodo page. So if I press Add to Library, I can either choose files or I can do links, whatever I want. And let's choose Upload. Let's say there's a document that I want to share, and I press Add. And now this document, it doesn't matter what format it is, but it becomes part of my resource library and my students' resource library instantly. And like I said before, we have the Google Doc options. If you have a Google Docs account, you can connect with it. So you have a lot of options here. Again, this platform has a little bit of a different feel to it, but at the end of the day, a lot of the same capabilities and a lot of the same services. So this is edmodo.com. Okay, so we've looked at 3 different LMS platforms. I think by now you have an idea as to what an LMS platform is and how it can be used. So we've now gone through different LMS platforms. We've taken a look at different tools. What I want you to do this week is very simple. I want you to select one of the LMS platforms we reviewed in this lesson. So again, either Schoology, Edmodo, or Edu 2.0. Now, if you happen to already be using one of these tools, then hey, great. You can either use the tool that you're using already, or you can try out one of the other options. What I want you to do with your selected platforms, I want you to sign up as a teacher, and I want you to create one of your classes. I want you to then add one assignment and one resource to the class. And if you need to see again how to do that, you can go back in the video and take a look at my examples. And then, lastly, what I want you to do, I want you to invite me as a student with your access code for most of the platforms. And then what I'll do, I'll accept your invitation, or I'll register as a student to your class, and you'll be able to see me on your list. So hopefully this won't take you too long. This is a very simple task for this week. But what I'm looking to get, I should be getting within the course of the next week, invitations from all of you to join your classes. So if you have any questions on how to do that, you can either contact me, or again, this presentation, all of the links that you saw here in this lesson are available on our class website, and you can download it as well, so that way you don't have to worry about getting to the LMS platforms. You can just click on their names and you're good to go. Again, here's my contact information. You have my email address, my phone numbers. You can feel free to use them if need be. And I look forward to seeing which platforms you choose. I'll let you know next time whether there was a trend, whether more people used one rather than the other, and we'll see how it works out for everybody. Okay. Hi. In this week's session, we took a look at 3 of the main learning management systems that are available. We took a look at Schoology, Edu 2.0, and Edmodo. These are only 3 examples. I couldn't possibly show you everything that's available, but hopefully now you have a better understanding of the possibilities and how to bring these options into your classroom. So please don't forget about this week's task. All of the materials are posted on our website, and I look forward to seeing you back next week. As always, please feel free to be in touch via email if you have any questions. Take care.